Hi there, this is Tyler Johnston, aka Stuart, and you're listening to How Are You Now, the toughest podcast in Letterkenny.
And welcome back to How Are You Now? How are you now, Tiara?
Good, and you?
Not so bad. I'm Dean.
I'm Tiara.
And today we are here with Keith Maki. Keith, how are you now?
Not so bad, you?
Good, and you?
Deadly.
Deadly. That's the way we should
do that a couple episodes ago. I thought it sounded cool.
That's one of my favorite offshoots of that is the deadly. Deadly.
Yes.
When he has to confront Tannis the first time.
Right.
So, this episode we'll be talking about the battle for Bonnie McMurray. But before we do that, Keith, tell us about yourself. Tell us about what you do and how you got into Letterkenny.
Well, I was first introduced to Letterkenny from my friend Jim, who I've known for about 30-some years. We went to high school, junior high, all that together. We have a very similar sense of humor. So he showed up one day specifically with the intentions of turning me on to Letterkenny. And so I watched maybe the first episode, and the first thing I thought was Wayne kind of reminded me of UFC fighter Matt Hughes. I don't know if you know who that is.
I do not.
Okay, you maybe just check him out. But, he had the John Bender flannel on, so I was in from that far. And by the end of the episode, I was hooked, and then I waited for my wife to get home, and then we started kind of binge watching.
Nice.
Ever that, And I suppose the reason we would be familiar would be because my wife and I are co-creators, I guess you would say, of some Letterkenny characters that are downloadable, playable characters on a wrestling video game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tell us.
You like them.
Tell us a bit. I mean, I don't play wrestling and I don't follow wrestling. I mean,
we do have friends who do.
Well, we have plenty of friends who.
Friends
yeah, it's just.
Awesome.
I mean, I haven't watched wrestling since way back in the day when I was a kid, and I don't even think there was. It was before there was even WWF as a.
See, I had like Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan when I was a kid, but
I came in right at that split.
Okay.
Like Fritz von Erich type stuff.
Exactly, Fritz von Erich.
Okay,
I actually had. I met Fritz and David von Erich.
Oh, that's great.
Because I'm from Texas, so that was. I mean, that was like their home place.
Oh, they love their von Erichs in Texas.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and so
my
I got autographs from him, but I was probably like 8, I think.
That is awesome. My wife actually watches a world-class documentary to fall asleep to every night when Kevin Von Erich talks. He has that slow kind of Texas, draw, whatever, it puts her to sleep within minutes. So yeah, we love the Von Erichs here too.
And yeah, they had a tough run of things back in the 80s.
So, yeah. But Kevin has a couple sons that are a couple studs. They do it too now.
Nice. That's excellent. Yeah, like I said, I haven't followed it since I was probably 13, and it's been a couple of weeks since then.
Right, a couple weeks, right? We're not necessarily as hardcore followers as it would come off, you know what I mean? But we did have the game. We play the game. Usually, we just make ourselves in the game.
Nice.
And I'm not as
So when you want to have a fight with the wife, that's how you do it.
Yeah, that's usually, yeah.
I could be down for this idea.
The game before that, we had all of our families in that. So we're talking like mother-in-laws, father-in-law, that we don't have them all rumble at once. Yeah, it was fun.
I would be afraid to play a game where I could beat up certain members of either family.
Right.
Here comes Grandma.
Which grandma, though?
My mother's definitely in the game, that's for sure.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So how do tell us this? How do people? Because I like to do plugs up front, just because I don't want to have to make people wait till the end if they don't have to. So tell us how they can find you and how they can download your creations.
Unfortunately for Xbox One users, we're only on the PlayStation 4. And we rotate characters. We keep Wayne up perpetually because it kind of doesn't make sense without Wayne.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we rotate the other characters. Right now we have the core 4, which would be Wayne, Dan, Derry, and Katie.
Right.
And there's usually one other swinging spot like that. And so we've been rotating them once a week. And it tends to get a little slower around the last few days. So we've been rotating them once every couple of days now, just trying to make sure everybody gets them. But it's on the WWE2K19 community creation.
Nice.
Hashtag Letterkenny. And everybody should come out. All the characters we have should come up. My wife made an arena and belts and all that stuff. That's
the Modine's Arena.
Modine's Arena 3, yes, it's very nice. We put a couple tiny clips up there, and then I actually they have a video editing kind of feature within the game, and I made like a little 40-second video clip that went up and kind of got a lot of response from it. People liked it,
Nice.
so much. Actually, a guy from Crave TV actually contacted about it.
Nice.
Yes, that's where. Yeah, and he says, so how far do you guys plan on taking this? And we kind of had to explain to him that it wasn't our game and all this and that, and more or less what I thought was necessary was we had to reassure him that we weren't planning on taking this any avenue that we were going to try and turn a buck on. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. But apparently the editing was good enough to catch his eye. You know what I mean? To me, that's a compliment.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Stuart.
I mean,
and Tyler Johnston actually gave it high praise too. So that's
Tyler Johnston is so good about liking all the fan stuff.
Yes.
I mean, Tyler, and I see Joel Gagne quite often.
Him too.
Yeah. And then I recently got a like from Jay Burton and Teo Horn.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's really incredible that the community, that even the stars of the show, it's not just the fans. These guys are really supportive. So
yeah, they're very kind with their support. That's for sure. My wife loves it. Every time anything new comes in, just recently we put up, which would be our 49th and 50th character that we have done, was Axe and Slash, the two Tanis's two right hand guys. They put up. Yeah, they saw it. They gave it a thumbs up too. They liked it as well. So
yeah, I did see that. Talking about her little nephews.
yes, little nephews, yeah, and of course Plywood's always all over it. Connor, so yeah, we like he's always real supportive of everything that we put up.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, so
I'm sure we'll be exchanging Christmas cards this year, right?
Totally. So let's get it. Let's dive in, shall we?
Let's do this.
So
on the previous episode
of Letterkenny Problems. Was Les Hicks, which that was the crew made a trip out to Quebec, however, Quebec, to go fishing, and there was problems between the two crews early on, but you find out in the end we're not really all that different from each other. We always want to fight the D-gens from upcountry. So that was, I think, in my opinion, the message that was was delivered in that episode.
The moral.
Definitely the moral of the story was we all just need to fight the D-gens for upcountry because we're all on the same side. So then we get into this one, which is the battle for Bonnie McMurray.
Bonnie McMurray.
So yeah.
Do you notice she never acknowledges anybody when they remind her what her name is?
Except for Wayne.
Except for Wayne.
Except for Wayne.
Yeah. So yeah. So they're in Modine's, and this is the open, and Squirrely Dan goes to get up, and he does something that I quite often do.
Yep, I will. Whoa, Dad. Hey, Dad. There you are, Dad. Dad! Hey, Dad! Who's Dad? You are, Dad.
When you grunt, when you stand up, those are dad noises.
Oh, I make them all the time.
All the time,
making dad noises. And then there's examples that they all go through for the different types of dad noises, which are...
Fuck no, dads don't give a care. It's like, hey, hon, better go clean up those lawn clippings. All right. Guess I'll watch state play later. It's like, hey, hon, I'm going to scoot off to book club there. Can you watch Bella and Edward? All right. Just had Field of Dreams, PVR.
It's like, hey, babe, I think we should take a vacation without the kids. Sure, Karen? Because I use more financial stress.
Eric, I'm going to Fantasia party with the girls. Can you unload the dishwasher? Or Susan? I guess I'm jerking off again tonight.
I love that Gales is that he's jerking off tonight. Like that's the
fuck out of here.
I'm just now. What exactly is a Fantasia party?
I'm guessing it's like taking the kids to like a Fantasia themed party.
Could be
Okay.
Funtasia. Was
Or
it
yeah, we have a
know.
place in Seattle that's called Fantasia, and so that was my immediate thought. But I would think
okay.
maybe it's like Disney
Could be.
Okay.
Fantasia.
That she would go with just the girls?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
I don't think Dad, who worries about jerking off tonight, is going to want to go to a Disney
Right.
themed party.
Right.
I just a thought.
Okay. So and then before we kick into the theme, we find out that
See, like, not all dad noise is a bad dad noise. So, like, maybe sometimes mom might say, hey, hon, kid's gone away camping for the weekend. Why don't we do some toe curling? And then dad might lean into a real Tony the Tiger dad noise, like, great.
Yeah.
great.
You
Like
gotta
that
love
dad noise.
Tony the Tiger, though.
That's right. He's got to step into that Tony the Tiger.
Yeah, and really throw the arm up. Yes.
That's right. Poor Gus didn't know what was going on. He's just, I was just in Dad's lap.
And then he dropped me and yelled.
So then we cut to the kitchen, and Katie gets off the phone and tells everybody that Bonnie McMurray has invited him over for a hot tub party.
I love that Wayne was like, what's the frequency, Kenneth? Can I just point that out real quick? Because I used to say that all the time when I was a kid after that song came out. I think that's
Yes.
how I greeted everybody for years.
I was going to ask if it was that or if it was from the actual the news reporter guy getting beat up, right?
Oh.
Isn't that what they came from? It was like it was some news reporter was getting beat up, and they kept asking him, Kenneth, what's the frequency?
I didn't know the background of the. If
I
that's
did not.
maybe the background of the song, or
Yeah, they just kind of use it as the catchphrase.
That's funny.
As they do.
I had no idea. That's awesome.
That Michael Stipe, you know.
Very clever.
I'm guessing
Yeah, very
Wayne's.
clever.
I'm guessing Wayne's just an REM fan
Yeah,
because they're almost agricultural music.
almost.
Yeah.
They are from Georgia. There's a little bit of twang
Yes,
to
they are.
them. So
Athens. to be exact.
I mean,
where
I was-
the B-52s are from.
I was just
Right.
reading something earlier today or yesterday where we were joking about the Grand Ole Opry.
Right.
Wu-Tang Clan is going to be playing at the Grand Ole
Oh my
Opry.
goodness.
So the first
Oh my
hip hop
goodness.
first hip hop group to ever play at the Grand Ole Opry, and he started quoting.
I said agricultural halls are for agricultural music, not the Wu-Tang. No, now don't get me wrong. I like the Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
But
Of all
that was
groups to
the
be first,
first.
though.
That was the first thing that
Yeah.
popped in my head. Was I could just see Wayne squint real hard. They were into the whole horror. They were into the whole horror. I can't help it, so they had to make it. Oh, the Ryman Auditorium, the Opry. So yeah,
Wow, that's gonna be great. Hey, now, growing up when I was in high school, we were huge fans of the J.R. Ewing of Seattle, Sir Mix-a-Lot. Do you remember him at all?
Oh God, yes, he's
Yes,
still
I do.
popular around here.
Posse on Broadway. We love that too. And later on, when I was in my 20s, I actually got to meet Mark Arm from Mudhoney, who's another one of my favorite bands. Actually, a really cool guy. I kind of had the privilege of meeting a few, like rock stars getting backstage and whatnot. And Mark Arm was by far one of the really nicest, cool guys.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely what I grew up listening to. More
Oh,
the
for sure.
more the Mudhoney side, but I definitely knew about Sir Mix-a-Lot, and like my first boyfriend sang "Baby Got Back to Me," and it's totally what got us together. I was like
almost thought that
13.
song was, wow, yeah. I kind of thought that song was like the downslide. As soon as he hit that, it was like downhill from there. Everything was good before that, But I definitely spent
Yeah,
a lot
before
more
he got
time
popular.
with yes, I definitely spent a lot more time with Mudhoney myself. Definitely. And Jonathan Poneman from Sub Pop is from my town, Toledo, I believe. The guy who founded the record company.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I'm the one from Seattle. Dean isn't, and
Oh, okay.
The only Sub Pop I know is that I know that Reverend Horton Heat was on Sub Pop for a minute.
Oh, cool. Obviously, there was that one guy from Aberdeen was on there too.
yeah, that's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say. It's a lot of Seattle artists that are known as Seattle artists were Sub Pop originally.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
And we were actually just watching Mark Lanigan's new stuff today, so that's pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know who's Mark Lanigan.
The singer for the Screaming Trees, another Seattle staple.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Not my pig, not my farm.
Huge music buff here. I'm a by far bigger music fan than I am a wrestling fan. Let's just put it that way.
All right. Yeah, I love the music, but my brain doesn't remember things like names of people.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So,
And my music is older.
oh, much
Oh
older.
yeah, I love it all too. Love it all too.
So anyway,
Sorry, where were we?
Bonnie's having a hot tub party, and which is causing a bit of a heat up between Derry and Squirrely Dan because they're both sweet on Bonnie. And here's where we find out that Bonnie is 20 years old.
Finally,
Yes.
we know.
So
But I still agree with.
she's 20, and because they're arguing about it, and then Wayne pops in and says,
She's a bit young, isn't she?
Well, she's 20.
Well, I'm only.
Doesn't matter.
I'm just. Don't care. She's mine. Well, she's a pretty girl. It's just. Could let the paint dry a wee bit there, eh?
Right?
let the
Wayne
paint dry.
keeps the mitts off the Kinder, that's for sure.
That's right.
I love that they interrupted the main characters before they could say how old they were, though. Like, that was really clever to me. I was like, oh.
But I'm only, who cares?
Don't care. Doesn't matter.
No. Still, either way, the point was made that they were too old.
Right.
Yes.
Or that she's too young.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
think it was
how
more
the-
that.
And how the teeth come out so fast when there's steaks involved, right?
Steaks with grill marks or without.
Mhm.
Right? Yeah, that too. Yeah, that too.
The both kinds of steaks.
Yeah.
So
They probably be quicker to get the steak with the grill marks in this case.
that's right. So then they keep talking about it, and Katie comes out and says,
The battle for Bonnie McMurray begins.
"That's right." It's
Because
time.
she's into it, too.
Oh yeah. Well,
She's like, I might throw my hat into the ring.
yeah, she's just doing it for fun. Not
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
she's got she's got no skin in the game except for her wanting some skin maybe, but
She's having fun with the situation
That's
for
right.
sure to
and if she can,
complicate it for Derry and Dan.
exactly, I think that's really more than anything. If she can get a little while getting over on Dan and Derry, she's perfectly happy. And while this is going on, then Tanis gives a call to Wayne to let him know that what's going on in Letterkenny is not her fault, and he's like, he's not even sure what's going
no
on.
idea. Yeah.
He's
He's not even listening. He doesn't even acknowledge her correctly in the beginning. Yeah.
Because he automatically gives her the,
It's not us.
"How are you now? Good news."
Not us.
He stuck to script.
That's
What he
right.
did.
That's what
Which
he
she usually goes along
Right.
with, but this time I think she was just so afraid that he was thinking that it was her and didn't want to stir up more trouble between them anymore.
been dealing with degens from upcountry. Okay, I'll handle it.
You do you, boo. I'll do it myself. I'll
That's
handle this.
That's
I
right.
love it when she says you do you,
That's
boo.
right.
I
And
just want
so,
her to say that to me so bad.
which we then cut.
Sorry.
We cut to the Skids basement, and we've got Stuart, Rolled, and Gay all playing video games. I'm not sure what
Contra, Ninja Gaiden, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was referenced at least 3 times during this episode.
Right.
Simon's
I think,
Quest,
yeah,
Mega
the
Man.
first one came earlier. Yeah. Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, the first one came earlier. The third one came later.
Yes.
Mega Man. Wait, 1, 2.
Yeah, they talk
3,
about a bunch of different types of
4,
games.
5, yeah. So that was the first.
Tecmo Super Bowl.
that's-
Punch-Out,
that's
hoops, and
after, that's
excited
after.
They talk about the
five-
guilty pleasures.
The 5 games that they had just played, and then they started talking about all the games that she was basically going, here's all these games that I like, and they're just like, ha 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 ha, ha. I just love that.
A girl.
I feel like Rolled is maybe going, Jesus, am I attracted to her? What the fuck is wrong here?
They've gone through the list of video games, and then Gay says, "Hey, do you two like to dance?" And they okay, let's go. And they get up and turn around, and who's sitting there on the couch but Tanis? So,
Boss fight.
oh, she just exudes,
Sexy.
yeah, or as the kids would call it, big dick energy.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. That's the first time I have heard that and it actually made sense to me. Thank you.
So yeah, that's kind of where that's what I see out of Tanis. She's got the BDE. So
And Gay is also stunningly beautiful. When we were,
Oh, yeah.
God, yes.
we have to really study the faces to get the likenesses right when we pop the pictures down. And there's almost every one that we made of the women. At some point, me and my wife would look at each other and be like, "Wow, she's just stunning. Like, she's beautiful. Every woman on the show is amazingly beautiful.
oh yeah,
Like nothing but 10s on this one." No.
exactly.
All of the same flavor, though. The thinner women apparently is Mr. Kizo's brand.
Yeah, we have not seen any of the thickness yet.
No,
not up till this point in the series.
No. Correct.
In future episodes that we have quote unquote not ever seen.
Right. I haven't seen those ones yet.
When we meet the Amish, the Knights.
Oh, right. You are correct.
Yeah,
the dicks.
There's a couple of them.
So, by far the best examples. Yes.
Yes.
So, then we cut real quick to the locker room. Riley and Jonesy are making calls for order in the group, and there's going to be fines. And the first thing they're going to be passing out fines about is for unshaven pubes.
Because somehow that contributes to hockey.
Yeah.
Aerodynamics.
Sure.
Your junk's got to be aerodynamic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Down to the wood.
So yeah, they Riley and Jonesy are going to be the inspector and the associate inspector. And yeah, so it's
GM of Bush, something like that, right?
GM of Bush, yeah. But the first thing they need to start with, I mean, they've pointed out Shorzy a couple of times, but they have to start with is Boomtown. They need to see his junk. Everybody else, they've seen everybody else's junk. It's part of the team.
Any of our listeners out there that can explain to me what the fucking thing was. This is absolutely something I cannot understand. He is so uncomfortable. Why are you making him more uncomfortable? Don't do that to your friend.
No secrets among the tribe, man. You know, you got to keep it. You got to keep it honest with the boys. You know.
I've never been amongst a group of anybody that required me to get naked to be a part of the group.
Right. Neither have I. Yeah. But I've also never played on organized sports teams.
Yeah.
I've only played on one, and it was amateur, and I had to pay to be there, so there was no way I was getting naked in front of them. Unless I wanted to get naked in front of them.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
That's roller derby for you.
That's roller derby, exactly.
And what happens at RollerCon stays at RollerCon.
We don't talk about that.
Anyway, so we jump as Boomtown is grimacing and holding his pants, that we jump to the hot tub, and they're starting to everybody's starting to climb in, and Wayne says they've got every type of person in the hot tub. The guy that's got his shoulders under the water, or his chin to the water, and the guy that's got his shoulders above water, and the guy that takes up more space just because, which is Katie, and then the edge sitter, which is Bonnie.
Mostly because she wants Wayne to look at her.
Right.
I'm the edge sitter, Wayne.
So
may or may not have done that myself once or twice in my life.
So then they start getting down to Katie starts asking, digging into Bonnie about what kind of person she's looking for. And so they kind of get into that.
And try to narrow it down for everybody.
Right.
As if she doesn't know what's going on.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Not uncomfortable enough already. Just
right.
Put it out there.
Yeah. So then, so this is, that's a short scene that we back to the locker room. They're talking to Boomtown. And then I think it's Schultze steps up and he hits the logo. And they give him grief. You don't step on the right. Don't step on the live for the. Oh, was it Fisky? Okay.
Yes.
Don't step on the live for the logo. Love the logo. That's what it's all about. And then they get into the same thing with the jersey, and this is the conversation.
Your jerseys. Oh, yeah, buddy. You should call it a sweater, buddy. Don Cherry's orders. Don Cherry, buddy. Your sweater never, ever touches the floor.
Never touches the floor. And the Don Cherry reference is mostly because of Jared Kiso playing Don Cherry.
Yes.
Tyler Johnson played the young Don Cherry in that same movie. Am I correct?
Oh, I haven't actually seen the movie,
that was what I saw. Was that Tyler played the young?
We're still looking for that movie. We need to find it.
I have saw it nowhere either. I watched The Odds about a week or two ago. That's a really good Tyler Johnson movie.
Nice. Yeah. I've so far I've only seen Tyler in Supernatural and this, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been a fan of his since early on Supernatural.
He's something special, that's for sure.
Yeah. And he still looks like he did back then. He still looks like he's 15.
Yeah.
So he's
Although in the later seasons, when he changed his look up a little bit, he does almost look like a grown up.
a little bit. Yeah.
He looks older than your son for the first time.
I think he's got the Ralph Macchio thing going for him, where he can always play younger.
Yeah.
And
Ralph Macchio could probably still play his 20s right now if he wanted to.
Good. Yes, good. And in this episode, he's actually running the little huskier voice through most of his lines too. He doesn't really take up the high octave too much. Yeah, he takes that. I'm assuming that's probably something to do with Gay, probably trying to put it out, put the vibe there.
He's trying to seem cool.
Yeah.
So back to talking about they go about the jerseys or /sweaters. And then Junk's out, boys. They're everybody's got to show it. And so they're trying to get Boomtown to go through it. And as everybody's pulling their pants down, they start hearing noise out in the ring. And then we cut back then as they're about to bounce out to the rink, to the hot tub. And Katie asked, what does it take to get your attention? It's, well, I guess somebody who can make me laugh.
Oh, no.
And that's when Derry and Dan say, turn the bubbles off.
Because they seem to think, even though multiple episodes have warned them, you're not exposed to fart in front of the ladies. Not exposed. That should be like
you're not exposed to fart in front of girls.
I don't care about that. Not when you're flirting, though. When you're trying to get in your pants, that's not the way to do it.
Yeah, they're out of their rational minds at that point. They're on the hunt. They're game hunters at that point.
Yeah.
And there's this. We have a reference to. It starts off about the Loch Ness monster, and Dan says, "I thought these were Ogopogo waters."
Ogopogo, which is where my family is from.
Right. Okay. So that's
Penticton and Kelowna.
What's
Lake Okanagan.
Lake Okanagan, yes. That's where it's the Canadian version of the Loch Ness monster.
Okay.
Basically.
I was going to ask. I'm glad you answered that. I had planned on asking what that meant.
Yeah.
The Ogopogo, yeah.
From like early childhood, I've always had Ogopogo stuffed animals
cool.
to the point where they were even in my classroom when I was a preschool teacher.
Oh, wow.
So I love explaining about the Ogopogo.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's a water monster.
Yeah.
So
Right.
basically. So
it's Nessie's cousin.
Yeah.
Oh, my daughter would love that to tell her about it. She's a big Nessie fan.
Oh yeah. So then we cut back to the basement. Tanis is confronting the Skids. She's got her little nephews with her. And we get into this total Gay versus Tanis.
And it's kind of sexy.
It's
very sexy.
It harkens to the Puck Bunny episode between Angie and Katie, where there's that tension and you can feel it. And it's sexy and it's hot and it's badass. And yeah, and this whole scene basically falls in the Bechdel test perfectly. I mean, so because it's just these two ladies are having it out,
and it's not about a guy.
No,
it's about who's got the bigger dick energy.
Right.
Yeah.
And Gay pulls it out.
It's obvious that, well, it's that background in psychology. Like she totally read the room and just eviscerated them. And I love that.
Yeah. She got rid of the two nephews
very quickly. They were so not okay with
they didn't want to hug Roald.
They did not want to hug Roald. And Roald was like, okay, let's do this.
And then Stuart with the tongue.
And Connor in the back actually hugging himself, and one night he kind of hijacks the scene for me now. Whenever he's in it, I tend to watch him a little more in the back, and it's always he's definitely got something. He's some for not being able to speak. He definitely gets a lot of comedic stuff going on there.
Yeah, and so they scares off Tanis and the nephews, and they're like, "Is that true about your mom being a psychologist?" And boom, who walks in? Gay's mom,
who happens
to be Wayne's first date from the Goldilocks and Three Dates relationships episode. This one's too hard.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never noticed that.
Yep.
I didn't either, actually. Dean pointed that out to me on this rewatch, and I'm like, wait a second, what?
Yep. So this was his first date. So which even throws more of the question about how old is gay. So,
Right?
Or how old is Wayne if she was going to date him?
right, Wayne. Yeah, Wayne. I think. Well, Wayne is just very mature.
Mhm.
You know, so he doesn't need to show. He doesn't need to throw off his big dick energy. He's just
Right.
got it. It's just,
His appeal is universal, yeah.
right. So, cut back to the rink, and we see Tyson and Joint Boy are the ones out on the rink making the shots. And now the name I didn't look up yet, T, while you're looking up, but I'll go ahead and look at that Bass McRae. But,
Oh yeah.
Tyson and Joint Boy are out there just slapping shots around. And Riley and Jonesy are basically asking them, are you guys any good? They said, well, no, we're dog shit, but we can make room for the boys.
I could beat the fuck out of 95% of the population on Earth.
Right, exactly.
Which is actually a Frank Trigg line. Frank Trigg is actually a guy who fought Matt Hughes, who's in the beginning of the episode.
All right.
Yes.
So Bass McRae.
All right. So Bass or Basil McRae.
Okay, Bass McRae. Okay.
Canadian retired professional ice hockey player, part owner and alternate governor of the London Knights in Ontario Hockey League.
Okay.
Is
he known for being an enforcer?
Player personnel for the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's really, I mean, I can keep looking up for more, but
okay. Yeah, I just, I thought that was...
he played for like 16 years.
Wow. Maybe it's because they're older.
Maybe.
But
He's
yeah.
like your age.
Oh, that's really old. So
they entered the NHL draft in 1980.
Wow. Anyway, so Tyson and Joint Boy, they're in. They take them back to the locker room to introduce them to the rest of the guys who all have their pants down around their ankles, except for Boomtown. And then Boomtown finally drops trowel. And we get this description from Riley and Jonesy.
Okay. Modest. Nothing weird going on. No weird J-hook, Ferda. No mutant bobblehead turtleneck. No weird long snout anteater. No disfiguration or discoloration, Ferda. Healthy. It's modest. Great dick, Boomtown.
Great dick, Boomtown. If you're a guy, tell your friends, great dick. You just let them know.
Yeah.
If the scenario takes place, sure.
When you're at work, you're rocking a piss like you do.
Right.
The boss is there. Great dick, boss.
Throw the free compliment. It don't cost nothing.
That's right. What do you find,
All right, T? After further sleuthing, McRae prided himself as an enforcer who always worked at improving his limited skills as a two-way player. He also played an honest game.
He played an honest game.
That's what it says.
One single game.
Respecting the rules whenever possible. Whenever possible.
All right, so that's what.
16 seasons.
There
yeah,
to be
as
an enforcer.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I could. That makes total sense.
Exactly with those guys.
Yeah. So we're back to the hot tub again. We see Wayne and Rosie have left
because the fart.
Because of the farts. And they get to discussing about, really.
Well, Katie finally is like,
go ahead.
If you hadn't noticed, there are some people who actually like you. And she's like, yeah.
I may have noticed.
She's 20. She's not dumb.
Right. So, yeah.
She definitely let them down very diplomatically, though, for a 20-year-old.
Well,
she found a good way of letting them down.
She didn't let them down. She essentially said, well, why can't I date all of you?
Right.
I guess,
and they were like, oh, no, I don't know about that.
I'd be in trouble.
Right.
Because she was like, why not fool around with everybody? I like being single. Nobody gets in trouble. And they're all like, I would get in trouble.
Well, what threw me about that was Katie says, I would be in big trouble. Why would she? I mean, she dates two people at once all the time.
I think, so my theory on all of that is that they're all I can't say serial monogamous, but they're all serial relationship people.
Mm-hmm.
None of them just have one night stand. Okay. None of them do.
Right.
And except for apparently Bonnie McMurray in this particular situation. So I think Katie is probably the most comfortable with two men. And she thinks if she was dating a woman, it might become a weird thing there.
Well, I mean, okay.
I'm just...
Because
Wayne wouldn't be comfortable with it.
Oh, Wayne really wouldn't be comfortable with it.
Okay, that's what I was
Amongst
doing,
other
yes.
things.
Amongst
Yeah,
other things, yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can see Wayne being grumbly about it. I don't know why. I'm just kind of curious as why she thought she would be in big trouble. I mean, I could see Dan because he's got his other sweetie
Yes.
that like gives him attentions to his butthole.
But like not a girlfriend, just somebody
Yeah.
who he hangs out with
So,
and
yeah.
plays
Yeah,
around with, it
little
seems
sweetie.
like.
Right. So I'm kind of curious, anyway.
Right? It sounds like he would be, I don't see how he would get in trouble
Or-
if
or
everybody was.
Derry.
Derry just probably can't keep his attention on one girl long enough to.
Well, he's got Anik, who's over
Exactly. That was.
over in
I
Quebec.
was going to bring that up in the
Okay.
questions. Like, didn't he just meet Anik?
So we cut to Wayne is driving Rosie home. He's dropping her off at the door, and
Will you be reading tonight?
Yeah.
I hope you'll enjoy your book.
After we make some dad noises?
Great.
yeah,
And
you
Tony
gotta
the
have.
Tiger comes back.
That's right. You gotta have a bit of toe curling, you know.
See, I understand the reading thing because my wife is a big reader, and same as you, Tiara. She's a huge Stephen King fan, and I had actually I told her that you started reading at 5, and she says, "Well, I did too." Well, and she also actually spent 12 years working with special needs adults, so they actually have that, and that
Wow.
common too. Yeah,
Nice.
yes, yeah. We used to have them over for Christmas a lot. Those were pretty fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
So I understand the reading. My wife does it too.
yeah.
I've had a hard time reading for pleasure in the last couple of years because of all the school.
Yeah. I understand.
Like I just started. I'm in the middle of 2 different books right now because I got so excited I couldn't decide which one to start.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm trying to get my brain back into the like reading for pleasure as I head into summer.
Right.
And working summer school is 4 hours a day, so I've got to have a whole lot of time to read.
Right.
Excited, very excited.
That's great.
There's like 3 Stephen King books I haven't even read yet.
Oh wow. I'm not sure if my wife's current or not, but she usually stays pretty current. He has a lot. So he has
Yeah,
so
he
many.
does.
Yeah,
He still puts out
got
one
he's got
every
like
year.
5 books,
it feels
right?
like
Right,
yeah,
right.
5.
5 books
5 times.
a day. Yeah, if could you imagine how much Game of Thrones we would have if
Oh my God, don't do that.
George R. R. Martin had written
So-
like King.
Here's the thing about that. When King was writing the Dark Tower series,
Right.
his fans were just like Game of Thrones fans. Where the fuck is number 7? Get off here. Stop writing all this other stuff. Stop doing all this other stuff. Focus on the thing we want.
Right.
So, like, George R. R. Martin got distracted. It's pretty damn obvious that he can't. He's doing everything but finish the series at this
Yeah.
point because he's probably just like, I can't focus on that right now. I need to like. So I get it.
Sure.
It makes me crazy because the TV show sucked for the last seasons. But
It wasn't horrible.
oh god,
Yeah,
Okay.
so we were
So-
never big into the whatever. I always assume people say, "Do you watch Game of Thrones?" I says, "No, it's kind of a show about dragons, right?" And the first thing they always say is, "No, it's not about dragons." That's all I've seen about it
No,
is
it's
that there's
tits and
dragons in it.
dragons.
Tits and dragons. Yeah, that's what Ian McShane Ian McShane gave a spoiler away.
Oh, so it happened at least.
Like years ago.
Yeah, this was like 4 years ago. He gave a spoiler away because he was on the show for a few episodes, and people were all pissed at him. And he goes, "What are you upset about? It's just a show about tits and dragons."
Oh,
Ever since
nice.
then, that's what we call it.
That
So
certainly
yes,
broadens the appeal.
yeah,
Yes.
I love Ian McShane. He makes a great Odin. So, anyway, back to Letterkenny.
Yes.
So let's get into thoughts, theories, and questions. So, and new terms. So we've got basically three new terms. So, one's a new name that we didn't know. So we got the Ogopogo.
I'm sorry, that's
I
funny to me
mean,
that's new. Yes, it's new to everybody else,
New
probably.
to lots of people.
Yeah.
So
Anyone who's
it's,
known me for any period of time already knows about the Ogopogo, and I am so sorry, friends.
Then we got sweater, which is
For
the
jersey.
hockey jersey is called a sweater. And then Baz McRae. So these are the 3 new things that we've learned about in this episode. So thoughts, theories, and questions on this.
We've
Yeah, go
also
ahead.
learned that Bonnie McMurray does not does not want a relationship but wants to date around. We've also learned that she's not discriminatory.
True.
She my theory is pansexual because she's like, yeah, I like that and I like that and I like that. So
she is a McMurray.
She is a McMurray, which we don't find out other stuff. We don't know about the McMurrays.
We know we know some stuff about the McMurrays.
They have fun in places, but they haven't done anything.
Wayne would see them as inappropriate.
Yes, he would see them as inappropriate.
So,
and he's not on this episode. That's actually my favorite character is McMurray. And funny. I think
you're the first person I've ever met that said that.
Really? Oh, I love McMurray. When we went to load him up on the wrestling game, for whatever reason, I couldn't tell you why, the name McMurray got flagged as an inappropriate word.
Because it's a piece of shit?
That was my only guess, yeah. Maybe there's something inside there, but it showed up MCM and a series of asterisks and then the Y. So for Bonnie McMurray, Mrs. McMurray, yeah, it was flagged as inappropriate. I have no idea why.
That is... So MCM and then asterisk...
the
MCM asterisk URRRY.
Now they have wrestlers named Dirty Dick Slater and guys like that. So come on, you got Dirty Dick on there. There's no way what McMurray is inappropriate,
right?
They must know more than we do.
Put your McMurray away, please.
Right.
Let's look at your McMurray, Boomtown.
Yeah.
So
one question that came up for me was when we meet Gay's mother,
right?
And we realize it's the one that Wayne went on a date with.
Mm-hmm.
Not just about how old are these people, but Gay was always referring to Mommy and Daddy. That Mommy and Daddy kicked me out.
Parents,
parents,
and
plural.
Yes.
So, are her parents still together? Was her mom in Letterkenny to scout out the place and just decided to take a date?
On the sly, huh?
Yeah, I mean, she was very eager to get down to business with Wayne. Like she was okay with. So
it's true.
I'm curious.
Is Gay's mom Polly?
Is Gay's mom Polly? Are they still together? Are like I don't know. Yeah.
Are they part of the lifestyle?
Could
Are
be.
they swingers? Yeah.
Yep, could be.
Sorry, I haven't heard it referred as that.
Like I said, more questions about Gay's age.
I love the flirting between Katie and Bonnie because it's pretty obvious that Bonnie doesn't have a lot of experience with women, but also finds Katie very attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the beginning, in the hot tub, when Katie's trying to get her to talk between the two boys, she kind of leans over to grab something and is making direct eye contact, and Bonnie's like, and I was like, yeah, I remember that feeling.
It's kind of like when the look between her and Mrs. McMurray.
Yes.
In St. Perfect's Day.
Before they went to the other room. Yes.
Right. So maybe we just have to wait.
And came out with each other's shirts on, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And then somehow miraculously Katie got it back on the truck ride home.
Unnoticed by Wayne.
Right.
So I wonder how much. I wonder how much of Katie's interest in Bonnie McMurray has to do with the fact that she's already bedded the mom. Ooh, I made you think.
Is it a sister?
Not
mom. You're right. Not mom. Sorry, sister-in-law,
stepsister, or sister-in-law. Right?
Still pretty close. It's still in the family.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's.
I keep thinking McMurray as dad because he just seems so much older.
Yeah, I'm sure sister-in-law is a category in Pornhub.
I'm sure.
Maybe Katie just likes to collect her trophies.
Without a doubt, she's got her scalps. So
her necklace of ears.
Right.
She puts another notch.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So thoughts? Any other theories? Questions?
Do you have any?
Yeah, I think we've pretty much. I mean, the dad noises I think was hilarious. I mean, that had to have come from somewhere. Someone had a conversation at one point in time about dad noises.
It definitely, I think this episode shows the certain levels of when you put strains on friendship and how people react to it. Because when Wayne and Derry had something that was possibly going to interfere in what was their friendship, they kind of turned nasty instantly. whereas Riley and Jonesy was rallying the team, you know, and they were all coming together in a good way. And the Skids, particularly at that last moment when Gay's mom showed up, that like handshake thing that rolled into
right?
certain, you know, definite move of solidarity. Yeah. So
But
it's, you know, kind of.
Is it blocking or is it we succeeded? Because their whole goal was to get Gay's parents to come and like, was it a, oh God, we did what we wanted. Oh no, we're going to lose her. Like at the same time, maybe?
It looked like a fear move to me. It looked like a protection of fear move to me. Yeah.
That's what I think. Yeah. Because
they didn't like
I
it.
mean,
Yeah.
I mean, in the end of everything, the Skids are all just a bunch of chicken shit.
And
for real.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is their bond, which is the bond they have amongst that and copious amounts of drugs.
That,
Yes.
right.
It's funny that we're rewatching Breaking Bad at the same time.
Love Breaking
as, like,
Bad. Love, yeah.
Oh my God.
I wonder if Stuart has come across the blue.
Yeah.
So yeah, I look forward to seeing more of what transpires with all that's just popped up here. So are we ready to get into our Fight and Ferda? We need to get a
we need a
we need Michael Bufford. Are you ready to Ferda? So we're gonna get into a little fight,
fighting, little fucking,
and
little friendship,
and a whole bunch of
I
Ferda.
got to explain to a new
Typical Saturday night in Toledo.
Exactly. I got to explain to a brand new Letterkenny fan on Friday night. I was out dancing with a friend who was like, "Oh, I finally checked out your podcast and it made me go and watch the show." And like they're like on episode 2 or 3 or something. It's like,
nice.
I don't understand the Ferda. I get fighting, I get fucking. What's Ferda? So I got to explain what Ferda meant, and that made me so happy because it was like his eyes lit up. He's like, I love that. So once you get to this episode, friend who will remain nameless, thank you for making me smile.
Let's see here. All right, so we're going to start off as we do with Mr. Wayne.
Mr. Wayne.
So,
well, you're asking me, right?
Yeah, well, everybody.
Okay. Well, I know the answer for what my wife's answer with that would be. You know, they say we're not necessarily of the lifestyle, but we do have a top 10 rule. You know,
the laminated list.
Yes. I believe Wayne is number 3, which is good for him because I've really been trying to crack the top 5 for years now. But my answer on actually is a little different because if you notice in past episodes, you kind of have to fight Wayne to get his respect. So in order to be a good friend with him, it kind of has to. So I'm actually going to say fight.
So
Ferda.
you can get to the Ferda. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Dig it.
Fight
All
Wayne Ferda. You can't, because he needs order established. Otherwise, it bothers him. So
we talked about that the other day.
Yeah.
Right,
so that let's get back to that.
Write it down. Let's get back to that after this because that's something that Dean and I were talking about the other day. That is something that you saw off a Reddit thing, right? Yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute. So Wayne for me, in this episode, there's nothing again that makes me really want to do more than be his buddy, his friend. The hands out of the hot tub for some reason just really makes me feel very uncomfortable because who sits in a hot tub with both hands out, just like you're about to play peekaboo with a baby or something.
I think that's probably going to get into what we're going to talk about after this. Yep.
So yeah, Ferda for me.
Ferda. All right.
I thought the expressions on his face when the whole thing was unfolding with Dan and Derry was priceless. The way he kept so casual.
All right, Miss Katie.
Yeah.
I think the answer to that one's pretty obvious. Regardless of what the episode's about. So
you're both.
That's not me. I am not obvious on her. I am fucking the hell out of her in this episode though, because that's what it's all about.
You did. I think you did have one episode where you fought her.
I did. Yeah. I usually Ferda Katie, honestly.
Very attractive woman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In the beginning, when we put up our the wrestling picture, somebody made the comment, "This is who smashed Katie in the face with the shovel?" And so I went back and looked at the character. Says, "Nah, that couldn't be." And I says, "Oh wow, I guess it doesn't." I mean, smashed me in the face with the shovel. So we had to change that and correct it and go back. So the one that we have up now is definitely non-smashed in the face.
She's more smash worthy than smash in the face.
Smash worthy for certain.
That's right. All right. How about Derry, our boy Derry?
Farting ruins it for me. You know that. You don't fart when you're flirting.
No.
It's not until you've established
Flirting.
a relationship with somebody that, be comfortable, cool. But I don't need that smell and associating that smell with you if I'm trying to get like in your pants. So
Right.
Are you sure?
how long did it take for you to fart in front of me?
2 days.
More like 3 months.
Same thing.
3 months is about when you moved in, right?
Sure. So
I would have to say Ferda for Derry because somebody needs to, get set him straight as far as the his issues with his women scouting. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Maybe the women that he applies for, he's not of the cloth to be able to handle.
Right? Didn't he just meet one who told him that she was interested? What's up, dude?
Yes.
yeah, it's one of those where you have to have a bachelor degree in order to get the job.
Yeah.
So did you actually give an answer? Was it fight or Ferda
For Derry?
for Derry?
Oh no, I didn't give an answer. I guess
You just said why you weren't going to fuck him.
that is true. So I guess that
answer
means
enough.
Ferda,
All right. So should I assume that would be the same for Dan?
Yes.
Okay.
which is probably the first time I'm saying that about Dan.
Okay.
Because Dan,
Well, you
He's
didn't.
my type, but-
You probably didn't fuck him in Fart Book either.
no, I didn't fuck him in fart, but I'm 99% sure to that one.
And Dan gave like the sexy eyebrow raise at one point when they were explaining what was going on. Did you notice that when they were in the hot tub and they said, okay.
I do love the parasol and the beard thing though. I thought that was so
That's
fucking
hilarious.
perfect.
Yes.
I loved that. If it hadn't been for the whole farting stuff, I would
It
have
was
been
all
down
thumbs
for
up.
more fun. I would have been down for more fun in that hot
Really,
tub.
Dan's got some fart skills though.
Yeah, he does. I kept waiting for him to like shit the hot tub
Right.
because who can fart for that long without something else coming
For
out?
the big brown shark to come. Huh?
All right, Keith, what's yours? What's your answer for Dan?
For Dan, I'm gonna say it's kind of the same for Darius Ferda.
Right.
Obviously Dan could use the advice more than he could use the ass whooping. You know what I mean? Wouldn't necessarily teach him anything.
Yeah.
Just hurt his pride.
Right. Rosie.
Same thing. I believe, in my opinion, Rosie won the bikini competition, so it's definitely a fuck for Rosie.
Oh, fuck.
But
Okay.
It'd probably have to be before, you know what I mean? That would probably lead to the fight with Wayne. So,
There you go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree with you on that one. I love what she said about book reading. I love that she was like, I'm going to try and get my boyfriend to relax a little bit. How about you put one arm in and I'll put one arm out? Then we both have an arm free instead
Right.
of like having him sit there with two arms up. Reminds me of somebody who does stuff for me sometimes. So yeah, I'm into her.
All right. Bonnie McMurray.
I let the paint dry on that one a little bit.
Yeah. Now, the real life answer would definitely be fuck, because she is, as we say, a gorgeous woman, especially when we were trying the 10 different times that it took to get her character right. But as far as like, in the episode, you would almost need Ferda just because they make her so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
There's no way you can make your play in that scenario because it's already the situation's been ruined.
True.
Right?
True. Riley and Jonesy. Their package deal.
They're
Ferda
so
all day
obsessed
long.
with dicks in this episode.
Couple
They're
of
rallying the troops,
cocklookers.
man. They're doing it for the greater good.
You don't have to get
I
it.
don't get it.
Everybody else is on board except
Okay.
for they're
Right.
trying to help Boomtown out.
Okay, I
Right.
would be Boomtown in this situation. I would literally be like, "Why do you
Right.
junk?"
It needs to be no ego in the room,
That's right.
That's not about ego.
There's
Not
no
for me, anyway.
There's no insecurity among the
Oh,
team.
see, that's not.
Right.
No, that-
Right.
So your
me
answer
without insecurity would not be me.
so your answer is
My answer is Ferda.
okay. The hockey players.
Oh, Ferda again. Ferda. Those guys are, they're rallying for the troops.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're doing what they got to do
Right.
to try and get on the same page. That's a great
Exactly.
mentality to get on.
Joint Boy and Tyson.
Definitely Ferda. Those are some cool guys. So,
I mean, they don't do much in this episode, but they are kind of cute playing hockey, and they're just like, yeah, totally. I want to play so I can beat some
Right.
people up. So I might be like a puck bunny for them.
All right.
Oh, nice.
I might be
And,
into that.
Dirty Dangles boys.
Dirty Dangles.
Dirty Dangles. And Joint Boy and my daughter have the same birthday, which is actually the day the new season of Letterkenny drops.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So yes.
October 14th in the States.
Oh, I thought, October 4th. I thought it was 11th. Is what I
11th
saw.
and 11th on Crave
Right.
on Crave in
14th
Canada.
on Hulu, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
but yeah, I mean, I suppose there's still ways to get it.
Hulu.
Anyway,
Hulu. We have a Hulu subscription.
all right. Sturt.
Ferda all day. Stuart shows a lot of backbone in this one for not nothing that's kind of out of character for him, but
Right.
it's good when he has a support team behind him. Then he knows when to come through.
True.
Yeah.
And it's also cute seeing him actually like comfort, like not awkward flirting, but like, hey, I actually think I might like gonna try and be smooth with her, but not
Right.
in like the awkward way with Katie where he kept trying to like lick her.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
who
feel like he
doesn't want-
learned a little bit
Who doesn't
there.
want to lick Katie?
She spoke a lot more of his language.
Yes. So yeah, I say Ferda in this one
All right.
because I feel like he's starting to understand a little bit, but
All
he
right.
needs a little more help.
All right. Rolled. Who doesn't love
Yeah.
rolled?
I love Rolled.
Rolled is Ferda for sure. It's hard to have a bad feeling on Rolled.
Right. Same.
Yeah. Gay.
Gay, once again, I think is absolutely gorgeous. And I found myself when I was studying this episode to come on here that I found myself watching Gay's arms a lot, thinking, wow, she's even have attractive arms. Like when she's sitting in that chair, it's like, man, even her, there's something even about that. But yeah, Gay is stunningly beautiful, as are the most of the rest of the female cast.
Yeah. So are we fucking her or are we Ferda?
Oh, we're fucking her 100%.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Same.
All right.
Fucking her.
And
Yeah.
then
I wanna
Tannis.
sit-
All that big dick energy
there's-
between the two
Hell
of them.
yeah. I want to be in between the two of those ladies.
You would
Lot-
explode.
lot of dick
I wanna
swinging
say-
between
yes,
those
I
two
would.
ladies.
Whew. I would let them split me in half.
That's very high praise.
The nephews.
Ferda, especially for us, since they just kind of gave us the thumbs up for our thing. So definitely to Dylan and Scradley Bradley, Ferda, 100%. Thanks, guys.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. I would say Ferda, but I would say that with a little caveat of y'all better drop your fucking homophobia or we're gonna fight. So
Right.
Well, yeah, it's like, they were just, they're truly phobic where they just run away,
Mhm.
as opposed to the asshole phobia that want to
well,
Kill
the
some-
toxic masculinity slash
Yeah.
homophobia,
Right.
where I'm accusing you of being gay, it's like the worst thing all of a sudden.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what doesn't work for me.
yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
like not wanting somebody to kiss you, I totally get that. But freaking out at the mere idea that you're freaking out is masking something.
Well, and I love how Tannis says, totally makes sense.
Right?
Looking at her fingernails. Yeah.
But then totally makes sense for her too.
Yeah.
Shut up.
So yeah, once you peel away her protection layer, she gets a little uncomfortable. So back to what we were talking about. So that's everybody.
Yes.
I think I got it.
Okay.
Well, unless you want to go. Shorzy.
Throw somebody else in there. Yeah. Shorzy.
I will never fuck Shorzy.
I don't know, you can fight him though.
I would kick him in the balls.
My friend Johnny Salami is waiting for Shorzy's uncles to show up, and he thinks they should be he thinks they should be the Hanson brothers from Fight Shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I would fight Shorzy. I would totally fight Shorzy.
Well, he takes the L later.
So yeah, let's get back to real quick.
Yes.
So this is something that had come up that I on Reddit. It was originally a question asking about if Wayne was a psychopath. If because he was so quick to get into violence and encouraged it, but it was more that someone else had brought up the possibility that maybe he's on the autistic spectrum.
Mhm.
And so I brought that up to Tiara since that's her
Wheelhouse.
yes. So let's
Oh, yeah.
So tell me what you think about that.
He very much reminds me of somebody who has Asperger's. He's got very strict rules and routines that he likes to follow. He does not like it when something is not done the way that he thinks it's supposed to be done.
Mhm.
He's very prideful of the accomplishments that he does do and can do. He's very proud of the farm, very proud of his dogs, very proud of the fruit stand.
Mm-hmm.
And like even with his ways with relationships, he feels like it's supposed to be a certain way, and if it isn't, it makes him uncomfortable.
Right.
And yeah, I totally, like, as soon as you said it, I was like, oh Jesus, yeah, I see that. I see it 100%. Like, I don't know if that's what the intention is, or maybe they've had examples before of people who are like that in their lives, and so they can write to it well.
Sure.
But it's very well acted, where it doesn't look like he's somebody with a disability. He doesn't look like, one of my biggest pet peeves in society is what people think of when they think of someone with autism or someone who is autistic, depending on how they identify.
And so Wayne is somebody what the layperson that doesn't really know would say is high functioning.
Which
I know.
Okay,
I know. That's why I said layperson, because
yes.
and basically
if he even got a diagnosis in the first place.
Right. But so he would be, because I think they've taken off Asperger's as a diagnosis. It's just,
which is why I said if he would even,
right.
He's really sharp though and quick-witted. That's still possible?
I'm autistic.
So I actually have a cousin who is also.
Yeah, it really, a spectrum isn't a line that has one end and another. It's more of a big sphere. And so each part of your personality is a different place on the sphere, and it can be closer to the center or farther away depending on where you are. So all of us are more like a map instead of like, it's not black or white. It's not even 50 Shades of Gray, because black and white have to then also turn back into, themselves to get back to, like, they don't stop right where they are.
It's not that different from sexuality.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's actually why a lot of people on the spectrum can identify their sexuality better, is because they understand the spectrum better and what a spectrum is. I, for a long time growing up, identified as bisexual because I didn't really understand. I thought, okay, so I can either be gay or straight, but I want both, so then I'm bi. But reality is, I don't believe that there's only two genders. I don't believe that there's only two sexualities or even three sexualities. I believe that there's a vast number of variances that can happen in there. And I'm somewhere in there. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, sexy wexy.
There you go.
Yeah, I get that. And I believe probably more connected to a kindred spirit more than necessarily, specific gender. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when it comes to Wayne, I definitely would, if I was a diagnostician.
If you had the rights to diagnose him.
If I had the rights to diagnose him, then I would probably definitely put him under the umbrella.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right then.
My opinion. But then again, I would need to know a lot more about him than just what we see. I can't just look at somebody and say, oh, they're autistic.
Right.
Although that has happened with kids before.
Yeah. So, I mean, but the likelihood is there. It's definitely there. So,
and especially if people are worrying about the distinction between psychopath and autistic. I think with psychopath, Wayne has too high of a moral compass to be a psychopath.
Right.
He absolutely believes in right and wrong.
Yeah.
Yes. No one gets it that don't deserve it.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
He
So
don't
it's
just
not
go around the town whipping asses randomly. He gives it to when it's earned. Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
And and his overarching statement is, if a friend asks for help, you help him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
that kind of eliminates. I mean, a psychopath really just doesn't give a shit about other people's.
They're there for themselves.
Yeah. And while they can show compassion, that doesn't necessarily mean that they
it's if
can
it's
feel
helping
it.
them.
And that's another thing with autism. A lot of people think that people who are autistic have a lack of empathy, but I mean, you've known me for 13 years now, and I'm probably one of the most empathetic people that you know. So it really, really can be like you meet one person who is on the spectrum, you've met one person.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm talking from my 20 years of working with adults and children with disabilities and my 40 years of being autistic.
Yep. So, and that's, and the thing I love that kind of harkens into one of the things that I love about this show is how accepting, and it's funny to me. So this show is pro-feminist, pro-LGBT, is anti-sexist,
sex positive,
sex positive, and disabled friendly, or however you would say that, except the
Accessible.
Accessibility. Yeah. So it's very progressive.
Yes.
The characters are very, generally speaking, very progressive in their mindset,
Especially for a TV show. And
Right.
there's so many things that are just treated as just normal that you never see in TV shows.
right. And
Right.
so I think it's interesting because even though I think this is probably a good show to kind of bring in the polar folks from either end, because it is these are conservative people. I mean, in their way of life, but their ideals for people are progressive. They're open, accepting. It's like, if it's doesn't that's not my pig, not my farm. It's not my.
I wouldn't say
It's-
conservative necessarily. I would say more what initial idea that libertarians had,
Maybe.
where, I'm going to help my neighbors, I'm going to help my friends, but the greater world doesn't really have anything to do with me. So I'm just going to focus on this.
Right.
Like, that's how I feel like they are. Their politics are here. I mean,
Yeah.
they know about these things that are outside of their world, but it's not a big deal to them. So like, they're definitely socially liberal.
Yeah.
They're definitely care about their community
Sure.
and the people in their community, and not just on a surface level.
When I say
Like, when
conservative,
Stuart
it's-
was homeless,
Yeah.
they let him stay with them.
Sure.
That's not something that most conservative people I know,
Sure.
and I'm sorry, conservative people listening, it's true. If you don't like somebody and they're going through a problem, I don't know very many conservative
Right.
people who
When I
would
say, and
help.
I don't mean
Not many
conservative.
people do that, period.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not many
they're
people let you
kind
stay
of
with them.
they're kind of reserved. I mean, like
Yes.
the it's more of, you don't talk about sex or politics at the dinner table, those types of things. That's what I mean by conservative. It's like
That's more
more reserved, I'll say.
reserved. Okay.
So
Yeah, because the term conservative
Right.
all over the world these days has
and
different meaning.
I mean it with a lowercase c, not an uppercase c. So,
Okay. All right,
so anyway, that's those are just my thoughts on it, and it's very interesting even on our Facebook group to see, and I'm very happy there have not been any fights on our Facebook group.
I know. I'm really happy about that, because that was one of the things I was worried about when the show started becoming more than just people we knew listening to
Right.
it, because I am very vocal about on the show
Right.
about my feelings when things come up.
Yeah.
And I know that I've said some controversial things on here. I'm sure that there are people who listen to our show that don't agree with everything that I say, but I am who I am, and
Yeah.
you're listening to me anyway. So thank you.
They're listening to your show, so if they don't,
Right. They can always turn it off. Sure.
It's your platform. So.
Sort yourself out.
Right. And really, if it gets them to think, if it inspires them, then you're doing something good either way.
Right.
That's my
And
hope,
that's the thing. I mean, because I noticed like K. Trevor Wilson, especially K. Trevor and Tio Horn are both very vocal on Twitter about, their ideology, which is very progressive. Probably Tio more than any, because of the history of violence against the indigenous folks in Canada and this, well, all of North America anyway. So very vocal. And, if you have a chance, go listen to her podcast, Coffee with My Ma, where she kind of talks about all that stuff that her mother had to deal with back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, etc.
I did not know she had one. I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, Coffee with My Ma. I think she just finished their first season and are starting to work on what's going to be going on for their second season. So yeah, it's
See if you can get her for your other show.
yeah, I would love to. I'd love to have her for this one or for the other one. It doesn't matter. I
Why
think
not
she's
both?
she's a spectacular woman, and I think listening to her and her mother talk is adorable, and it's poignant. It's very important. These stories that they're telling of what went on with them back in those times. So very, very informative. So it's definitely something you should listen to. It's not, I mean, yes, there's humorous things that go on, anecdotes like that, but I mean, her mother is, for the time, was very active, so socially active person. So yeah, it's definitely a good listen. So also, as far as other podcasts, Mark Forward
yeah.
Listen to Mark Forward's podcast. It's freaking hilarious. So, so if you like Coach, go listen to the Mark Forward podcast.
Or what was his name on Mr. D? He was on, Mark Forward was on Mr. D. He was the librarian.
Mr. D. What's Mr. D?
Jerry Duncan.
Nope.
It's another Canadian show. Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm not familiar with that one.
He was on it. Jonathan Torrens was on it.
Nice.
And actually the matchmaker was also on it.
Nice.
Yes.
So Jonathan Torrens is Mr. Dick.
Yes. Noah Dick.
Noah
J-Rock.
Dick.
And so
Yeah,
what was the
we
name of
love
the show?
Jonathan
What,
Torrens.
what was
The
the
show
name?
is called Mr. D.
Mr. D, as in Dick.
Mr. D. Yes. It was on CBC.
Okay, I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah, that's a pretty funny one.
Huh. Yeah, it's
Especially if you like Jonathan Torrens. He's one of the main characters.
I
for sure.
I started following him on Twitter. He's a humorous individual for sure.
He's a very humorous guy.
There's we talk about this, it's like they have 20 actors in Canada and they get passed around to each show. I mean, I know there's probably more, like 50, but
But yeah, it's like British actors.
yeah, exactly.
If you've seen one British actor, you've seen him in everything because he's in everything. So
yeah.
All right.
So
And 19.2 definitely has a lot of those characters.
yeah.
My wife and I finished 19.2 a couple weeks ago.
yeah, I have
And,
to
so the next,
find that one.
Right. The next episode is Bradley is the killer, right?
Right. Yeah, he's his
Yeah,
partner.
that's fans of if you like Bradley at all, 19.2 is definitely a good one, especially if you want to have him having sex with a lot of different women.
Ooh.
And what's
Yeah.
funny
Right.
is the guy who plays Bradley was in Supernatural
Right.
as Rosie's father.
Right.
Oh no.
That's right.
Oh, my
I
God.
forgot about that.
Yep.
I forgot they were in the same
no, I didn't know
episode.
that. Didn't know that. Yeah, he gave us a good thumbs up too. So
'Cause-
Adrian Holmes definitely, he's
Nice.
was kind enough to acknowledge us.
Excellent.
So
Mhm.
Yeah, I love all these people. I would love to get to meet them, and I know our friend Valerie got to meet Nathan Dales, Michelle Millette, K. Trevor Wilson, and
Dan.
Jacob Tierney, and I think one of the executive producers. I don't know if she got to meet Kiso or not. I didn't see, but I know she
I
got.
haven't watched.
Yeah, she has, but she had an interview with K. Trevor Wilson that they just put out on theirs last week. So yeah, it's I told her I'm super envious of you right now. I wish I could be there. So
So how fun would it be to watch all these guys wrestle with their own characters?
that would be amazing.
That would be hilarious because they were saying, I'm assuming there's something Twitch where people
Yes.
watch other people play video games. I
Yep.
thought that would be a great idea for the Skids to have a Twitch account where they played their games and wrestled with themselves. That'd be a good idea.
Well,
Mr. Crave TV there.
yeah, I think Tyler is a bit of a gamer. I think I've seen him.
He bought the game.
Did he?
He sent us a
Oh,
he
yeah,
sent us a
that's so
comment
cool.
that he bought the game. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. That is really cool. Because
Yeah.
for even the 1 second, if any of the people from the show look at it and they laugh or they like the picture or something, for that 1 second, our relationship becomes symbiotic. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
Like we're giving back, they give us you know what I'm saying? So even for that second,
Yeah.
we're really happy when that happens.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe at some point, then you can get the get the Xbox, and then make the
Right?
character,
We considered that. Yeah.
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 and then it get even bigger. So,
Yeah.
I mean, because I see
as big
when
as this can get,
yeah. Well, I see it when you guys post new ones, and everybody loves them. So,
Yeah, they do. You guys are definitely very, very kind to us with posting. As obviously, we put the Letterkenny podcast on the Boots T-shirt.
I
Excellent.
saw that.
Yep.
That was so
Nice.
cool.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was on when we did the live stream, and the live stream definitely it left a lot to be desired. But that wasn't really my fault. It was more of the fault of the whatever happened between the WWE game and the what wound up on YouTube. And,
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
So one more time, where can we find you and all of your stuff?
Well, other than my wife's Twitter account, Instagram account, and whatever, we're on the Letterkenny posting. The characters themselves can be downloaded on the PlayStation 4, the WWE2K19 game, the community creations. It's hashtag Letterkenny, and all the characters that we have up at the moment that we're allowed to put up at the moment is there, and it'll be at least 5 characters at a time. Wayne will be up at all times, and then like I said, we have an arena belts and definitely different stuff. I even put up like stuff for video, like kids logos. So when they come out, they can come out with their, stuff like that. Just a bunch of little fun stuff,
Nice.
Excellent.
It's cool that their game has it enough to where you can make enough of these creative wrestlers where if you don't really want to wrestle, they're guys, you can have this like game inside the game. So that's really neat that they did that.
That is cool.
Yeah, and anybody that downloaded the characters, anybody that, like I said, looked at the pictures and got a laugh of it, we're very happy and we appreciate all the goodwill towards us back that you given.
Yeah, I don't know.
Very appreciative.
I don't remember where the place that I first saw it was either on Reddit or on Twitter. And then I'm like, that is awesome. I mean, I wish I had that kind of talent and time.
Right. Thank you very much. It was actually Sherry from Letterkenny Memes. She originally told my wife that she'd thrown it up on Twitter and that people were, that even like the cast were responding.
Nice.
And so we went and looked there, and this is really, honestly, nobody's more surprised at this than us. Like we just did it for ourselves in our living room and showed people like, well, maybe somebody will think this is funny, and then it's just wow, it's got a really a way bigger response than what you would think something would come from making stuff on a wrestling game. You know what I mean?
Kind of like this for me. Like I literally, when we started doing this, I was like, oh, I know like 10 people who watch Letterkenny and we really like Letterkenny, so let's do this. And we were like, when we first started booking guests too, we were like, so pick out your favorite and your like least favorite of like a couple of seasons and we'll get you back on. And we haven't been able to repeat anybody yet because we keep getting requests.
That's great. I could not have been more surprised when you said, I thought maybe I'd come on for 3-4 minutes and talk about the wrestling thing and be like, all right.
Oh, no, we want to
see you, wrestling man. We'll talk to you later. You know what I mean?
No, hell no. We want to talk about the whole thing. I mean, because this is about the fans.
We love talking to other people who love it as much as we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been a blast for me. Especially since, you don't know that I wasn't coming here to try and like cut wrestling promos on you or something silly, get carried away, right? So I appreciate bringing me on.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, we could tell that you guys love the show. I mean, otherwise you wouldn't do what you do. I mean, because you're not. It's not like you're making money off of it.
Exactly.
So same here. It's it's like, I mean, we do ask for donations on our Patreon, which we have. Patreon.com/howareyounowpod.
We're getting some of those T-shirts for certain.
Nice.
I'm so excited about this.
Not yet. We are
finalizing the logo,
because
and we have a friend.
We're coming up with 3 different designs. We're coming up with the. They will all say "How are you now?" podcast, but then there's one that's going to be a fight fuck Ferda, and then there's going to be a censored version. Then there's going to be the other one, which will I don't know if we're going to do a censored version or the other one will be "How are you now?" pod. It'll be like the tough, like what we have on the show, which says the toughest podcast in Letterkenny. So, and then we have another one that we're coming up, which is just basically going to be a black and white, and I think we're going to try to make it for like polo shirts, which will have embroidery, it's going to have it's. So we have we've got a 3-legged dog. Now and I mentioned this earlier today.
Stop giving away secrets here.
I'm mentioning it because it's ours. So anyway, we've got a 3-legged dog, and that which is our intro song by Hard Bunny Saints. The intro song that we have by Hard Bunny Saints is called 3-Legged Dog. So and I mean it all just fit perfectly. So and so we're gonna have that with it'll say D-Gens on it because we're all fucking D-Gens here. We're just not D-Gens from upcountry. That's the only thing. We're just our own.
Yeah, it would be a down country D-Gen. They're about 8 hours from here, so they're actually drivable from where I am. Yeah, Sudbury's about 8 hours.
Yeah, we've got our own share of D-Gens around here. Most of them are up in in Everett now, I think. So
those are our upcountry D-Gens.
Our D-Gens from upcountry are in Everett, Mary's. Yeah, Granite Falls.
My mother.
Is Olympia above you?
No, they're south. There's about an hour.
Bellevue? East of us.
You said Olympia, right?
I said Olympia, yes.
Oh, okay. Why did I hear Bellevue? That's weird.
He said above you.
Above you.
We actually have a Bellevue, Ohio, so that's really close here.
Yeah. So, Olympia is south of us by about an hour. Depends on traffic.
Okay.
Hour and a half.
It could be 45 minutes or it could be 3 hours.
Yeah, it depends on Fort Lewis.
Right.
JBLM. Yeah. Right.
So, everything with for where we are is drivable for in about 3 hours within the
we can drive to Vancouver in about 3 hours depending on border. We can drive to Portland in about 3.5 hours depending on traffic.
Yeah,
we could drive to Idaho in probably about 4 hours.
It'd be more like 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there anything to do there in Idaho?
I don't.
Potatoes.
Okay, I thought maybe you had a spot, like you knew a spot already.
No.
No.
We can get to Salt Lake City, not too
Yes.
far, and then go hit In-N-Out Burger. And that's about it.
Yes. Takes about 24 hours to drive to Vegas.
And see the real life Book of Mormon. Keith, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been amazing.
Thank you for having me, guys. This has been a blast. It's been an absolute blast for me.
It's been a joy to, we love talking to folks who really love the show. I mean, and everybody that we've had on loves the show. And you obviously love the show. So
we love the show. We definitely love the show. It's family time to us. And honestly, the since we started taking this character wrestling thing to the nth degree, we've it's become a different thing. Like when we watch the show, it's like studying the show. We're doing research, and it's the smallest things. Like, we need to change Mrs. McMurray's boots because they're not enough point in there. Just any of the small, and it's like getting real meticulous what we could. So it's like, we're definitely studiers or scholars, if you will, of the show.
I'm curious because I know that you can bring in like the folding chair, right?
Yes.
Can you bring? Could you bring in a hockey stick?
They have a kendo stick, but I don't believe a hockey stick is in the mix.
I was going to say if you could manipulate something into be a hockey stick, that would be hilarious.
They have a hockey uniform and a hockey mask, so I wouldn't understand why they wouldn't have the stick.
There you go.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, Kate, thank you very much, and we will we'll talk to you soon. We appreciate everything that you're doing for the community because it's awesome. And if you for any of you guys who have guys or gals whomever that have the WWE2K19 on the PS4, go and download these characters because they are amazing.
Yes. And you can
play with too.
You can see some of them on our Facebook page if you're not already part of our Facebook group, which is
it's the just look up How Are You Now podcast Facebook group. You can also go to How Are You Now pod page and there's a link to it there. So
Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on
Patreon,
all the things.
Tumblr. And we have a Discord now. So a Discord now for podcast Junkie has a Discord server. We're on there now. So if you want to be more interactive, it's like a old school type chat room in a way, so that you can get out there. You can meet with us. You can meet with other indie podcasters. So
it's growing like mad, man. I'm so happy to be a part of it at this level, guys. So
I loved it. Thank you very much, and give Heather our best as well.
I will. Thank you very much, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care, you too. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of How Are You Now? If you like us, subscribe and give us a nice review. If you don't, well, we're not for everyone, but we thank you for listening anyway. If you'd like to contact us for any reason, we can be found on Facebook at How Are You Now Podcast. We can also be found on Twitter and Instagram at How Are You Now Pod and via email at howareyounowpod@gmail.com. We'd like to thank our good friend Jack Rainwater from the Hard Money Saints for allowing us to use their music for our intro and outro. You can find them on Reverb Nation at Hard Money Saints. See you DJs soon.
It's been too long since baby's been to town.